Registrations were coming through the post. So now we want to try and at least get 400 people on the platform for this queen, an amazing queen. Sister Leah, how are you, sister?
I'm good, thank you. I'm very happy to be here.
Oh my God, sister. You know that this day has been long in coming. I know you've been on, I think you've been on the platform before. I'm sure I remember you on the platform before. And I don't know if you've done a keynote speech or it was a good part of a collective of sisters that we had on there, if I remember correctly. But I've always wanted you on the show by yourself, sister.
Oh, thank you.
And you know, you got enough ones that's coming through on the chat in the chat room already.
I'm excited. Hi, Leah.
I mean, everyone's excited. Everyone's excited.
I have known Leah probably almost as long as I've known you, Uncle.
Take over, sister. Take over. Sister, can you
My
introduce our
grandmother
queen?
loved her. God rest in peace. God bless her so much. She loved her. Oh, so, hi, Leah. Nice to see you.
Okay, Sister Leah.
Yeah.
You know, you're a legend in our community, sister. You're doing some great works. And I'm really just going to hand over to you, sister. Let the people know who you are. And then you drop what you need to drop for us tonight, my queen.
I will. Thank you. Can I share my screen?
It's all yours, sister. It is literally all yours.
All mine. Awesome. Thank you. Listen, brother, I don't know where you found that picture of me, but I like it.
I like sister,
I looked at myself like,
love it, sister.
That picture?
I love it, sister.
I look like I've been in the gym.
Literally above the front door. You cannot come into my yard without saluting and crying in front of that one picture. It's amazing.
Thank you. All right, let's get this party started. How are you, brother?
I'm in a good place, my queen. I'm in a very, very good place. Right now, we can see your Zoom page.
Can you see my slideshow?
No, we can see your Zoom.
Oh.
Your internet page, sorry, your...
Okay, let me try that again. So...
Brothers and sisters, we've got the great Leah, Salmon here, husband, wife, duo. The brother doesn't, we can see that, my queen. We can see that, my queen. I'm going to shut up now and hand over to you, sis.
Thank you. Greetings, family. Thank you so much for, again, to our king. Can we put some ones in the chat for Andrew Mohammed and all the, like, I don't know, I think Andrew is like the Energizer bunny that just doesn't stop. You know, like the bunny with the batteries in the back. Can we put some ones in the chat for Andrew Mohammed? Because I swear he's the hardest, him and Leon are like the hardest working brothers in the empowerment movement in the UK at the moment. And it is such an honor. Like if anyone was online with the Hidden Science Academy with them on the Hidden Science of Melanin on Saturday, it was three kings. We were watching three kings, Leon Marshall, Andrew Mohammed, and our brother, I'm not going to say his name because I'm not going to pronounce it properly. Andrew, how do you pronounce his name?
I'll just say Professor Kabar.
That's it, Professor Kabar. That was a sight to behold. I had all 6 children and my husband. We were all sitting around the table watching just history unveil itself. It was amazing. But thank you very much for inviting me. I'm going to be talking about how to free your mind, body, and soul naturally. My name is Leah Salmon, the Naturally You coach. A bit about me. I'm a homeschooling mother of 6 children, 1 angel boy, best-selling author of 6 books. I'm a speaker, nutritionist, and life coach, live blood analyst. I have a Birmingham-based clinic and an online health store. And the main focus of my work is menstrual, womb, pregnancy health, premature birth prevention, and personal development. And the kind of non-profit work that I do is supporting the predominantly the Black homeschooling community. I used to have an event called Teaching Our Own, the Black Homeschooling Fair, and that had a twofold purpose. One of it was to help Black parents who wanted to home educate their children. But the other emphasis of that work was to empower Black parents to take their children's minds back into their own hands. Whether you were home educating, whether your children were in school, just to take back control of your children's minds. Because even if you put your child in school, the law still says their education is still your responsibility and you've chosen to put them in school, but that doesn't mean that the school does all the work. It means that that's the choice you've made. That's the educational provider, but you are still meant to be very active. And the way that society has subjected Black people we feel very disempowered in every endeavor that we undertake, whether it's putting our children in school or our children's education, whether it's our health, whether it's our mindset, whether it's our money. And that's why we are in a disenfranchised situation. And that's why we've become marginalized. However, I have seen, and I know it's true, that no matter what situation you are currently in, that has no bearing on the potential that you have, the position you have the potential to find yourself in with the right mindset. So we're going to be talking and focusing on today.
Sis, can I interrupt you there? I apologize because you're on the flow. I'm loving it. But brothers and sisters, did you hear what the sister just said? 6 children, mother of 6 children. And look how the queen looks, man. Brothers and sisters, put down in that chat room, if you think this is looking good, 6 children, and no matter what that she does, put down lick shot. No. Sorry, Sister Leah, I cannot allow that to go by. Lick shot. People are saying you're beautiful. Wow, fire. Sorry, sister, carry on, my queen. But I couldn't let that go by. I could not let that go by.
Thank you. And you know what, family, honestly, the way the energy and connection works, I've had a very trying day. And as Black people, we don't like saying when we've had a bad day. We just want to say we're good all the time. But today hasn't been a top-notch day for me. Mothering, being self-employed, blah, 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 blah. So that very much helped. Thank you, Andrew. I appreciate you. I appreciate you saying that. So today we're going to be looking at how our food and lifestyle affects our physical, mental, and emotional health, how diet and lifestyle is keeping us enslaved, and how we can emancipate ourselves holistically. Now, I can talk for England, honestly. So a lot of these points are going to be somewhat condensed, just for the sake of time. But I hope I am able to share enough to just allow you to start thinking. So I'm a nutritionist. I've been a nutritionist qualified for the last 17 years, I lose track now, for a long time. So you can call me biased on this, but I truly believe that food is everything. And for Black people, my goodness, we use food to celebrate, we use food to console, we use food as offerings, we use food as nourishment. Let your food be your medicine. Food is so important. It's such a pivotal part of our life and experience. However, it does seem that we've come to a place where we are simply eating either out of convenience or out of taste. And we're losing the great benefit that we can get from the food that we're eating, and the relationship that we have with our food as Black people, as people of color, as cultural people. We've had such a disconnection from it that now we are assimilated into the environment that we're in, and we're simply just consuming to feed capitalism, for lack of a better word. Now, one thing that we used to be told is that you are what you eat. But in reality, you are not really what you eat, you are what you absorb. So when we're eating, it's also really important that, because we're talking about how our food can affect our health and affect our life and how we can emancipate ourselves with our food. But it's also very important to remember, and I speak about digestion a lot, that if we're not digesting our food properly, if you're not having regular bowel movements, if you're not chewing your food, because digestion starts in the mouth, if you're not even chewing your food properly, you have very little chance of being able to absorb the great nutrients that are in your food for your food to become your medicine. So you can be buying the expensive, organic and free range and biodynamic and heirloom and all these great varieties of healthy foods and supplements and all these kind of things. But if you're not chewing your food properly, if you're not hydrated enough, because your digestive system needs 2 liters of water just to function on a daily basis. If you're not rehydrating yourself and adding fresh water to your body is forced to recycle old water, family. You hearing what I'm saying? Recycling old water in your body. So it will draw water from your skin, from your brain, from your joints, from your blood, in order just to carry out that process of digestion. And it can only do that for so long. So then you'll end up with inadequate digestion. So your body won't be drawing all the nutrients from your food. And then you're not getting the most bang for your buck because you're eating food and it's coming straight out. And I always use the analogy, any parents out there, who have ever changed the nappy of a baby who doesn't have teeth yet, but has got their hands on sweet corn. And you open the nappy and the sweet corn looks just as bright and yellow as it did on the kernel, because the baby hasn't chewed it. So the baby's had no nutrients from it. And as adults, we are letting a lot of food go to waste just because we're not even chewing it properly. And ancestrally, we would be chewing our food 30 to 70 times. And again, I speak about the Chinese saying, to drink your foods and chew your drinks. So you chew your foods up so much that you end up drinking them just like they're water. And then the digestive enzymes in your mouth that break down carbohydrates to begin with, the amylase in your saliva that breaks down, that can start working on your food the longer that it's in your mouth. Also, if you're using toothpaste that does not have glycerin in it, because glycerin blocks the pores in your teeth, if you're using a natural toothpaste that doesn't have that in it, the longer your food is in your mouth, as long as it's a nutrient-rich food and you're chewing it up, it allows your teeth to absorb nutrients from your food before it even goes down and starts getting broken down and absorbed further down in your digestive tract. So drinking water is super important. Chewing your food is super important if we're going to give our food the opportunity to nourish our body and really do its job. Now, so again, good digestion equals good absorption. And this is a little diagram of the stomach made up by fruits and vegetables. And these are the types of foods that aid beneficial digestion, that are easier for your body to absorb. Because Dr. Leah Africa spoke about the fact that our digestive juices have been around for a very long time. Our food landscape only really changed significantly in the last kind of 100 years or so. We didn't even really have like things like significant amounts of processed salt or flour, never mind all the artificial, Franken foods and hybridized foods and all those kind of things. We didn't have them. So our bodies, the human body isn't designed to break down a lot of the food that it's being subjected to now. But our digestive system is amazingly strong and it can adapt, but that adaptation takes a very long time. So it's no wonder that our ancestors enjoyed amazing levels of health, lived to far older than we ever did, are able to now. Like, it's a miracle when we see someone who's 110 years old in this country, like they get on the news and they get a letter from the Queen, like anyone cares about a letter from the Queen. But, we get all these accolades for becoming a centenarian when that was part of our regular experience, because our bodies were being fueled by natural, good, organic, seasonal, local, pesticide-free, natural foods that our body could break down. So it's really important that if we want to give our foods the opportunity to have an impact, a beneficial impact on our health, that we support our digestion so that they can do that. Because when I have people come into the clinic and they're like, oh, I've tried healthy eating and it doesn't work, and I ask them what they've tried, they're telling me about pills they've popped and bowel buster pills that have opened them up and they've been on the toilet for 2 days, or they bought 4 innocent smoothies on the weekend, or they increase their water from 1 cup a day to 2, and they're telling me healthy eating doesn't work. Nah, fam, that is not healthy eating. Healthy eating is what you do on a consistent basis, giving your body time to adapt to it, giving your body time to absorb all the nutrients. And because we live in such a fast pace, I mean, I know I'm talking 100 miles an hour now, but I know we live in a very fast paced society where we want instant gratification right now. We want to find out something, Google is there to tell us right now. Some people can sit in their house and be like, Google, how big and heavy is the planet Mars? We're not even opening up books and flicking through pages anymore. So we want instant gratification, but the human body is old school. It's beautiful and it's the most intelligent system on the planet, but it's old school, and you need to give your body time. And things that take time, things that take longer are normally going to be more worth it than the instant gratification and the idea that we can just pop a pill and it can make up for us digest, like nutritionally abusing our body for significant periods of time. It not gonna work, brethren. So how our food can impact our health. So every day, every 35 days, your skin replaces itself, your liver replenishes itself in about a month. Your body creates new cells based on the food that you eat. You literally become the food that you eat. So it takes, for your blood, for example, so anyone that comes into the clinic and they're looking at their blood and they're like, oh my gosh, and I'm showing them the challenges that I can see in their blood, and people get kind of concerned. And I always tell people, every single day, every single meal you eat, is another opportunity for you to grow healthy cells, because every minute, 2 million blood cells die and 2 million blood cells are born in your bone marrow, and they're born from the nutrients that you are getting from your food. So if you're putting poor quality food into your body, then you are going to be creating abnormal cells and suboptimal cells. But every time you put healthy food into your body, you're giving your bones, your skin, your eyes, every single cell in your body, you're giving it the nutrients that it needs to be grown in a healthy way. And we know that most diseases are the results of our bodies being nutrient deficient, and our body's not having the right amount of nutrients and the right amount of fats and proteins and carbohydrates and the phytonutrients and the macronutrients and the micronutrients, not having sufficient amounts of them to grow healthy cells. And then we have cell mutations, and then we have excess toxicity. And then we know that excess toxicity can lead to and can contribute to cell mutation. And then we know that that toxicity creates acidity. And we know that acidity is a perfect breeding ground and the perfect environment for pathogenic activity and pathogenic growth. And pathogens are the names of any organisms that are not good for the body and that are not beneficial for the body. So bacteria, funguses, molds, all of those things are considered pathogenic. And we know that when you have pathogenic activity in your body, it starts eating away at your nutrients. So a lot of the food that you're eating will be further feeding and further creating a beneficial environment for those unfriendly bacteria, those unfriendly animals in your body. And we know we've got the friendly bacteria and the unfriendly bacteria. And we wouldn't want to ever destroy or get rid of all the unfriendly bacteria, because we've got a symbiotic relationship with them. They give us a bit of nutrients, they help the environment in some ways, they help bulk up our stool. And as long as we don't create an environment that's conducive to their overgrowth, the unfriendly bacteria can't overgrow. And as long as we create an internal environment that's conducive to the growth of the friendly bacteria, then they can be the ones that thrive. And our friendly bacteria is what keeps, again, our digestion working efficiently so that our body can get the nutrients from our food. So about 70 to 80% of our immune system is in that friendly bacteria, that ecosystem that's in our gut. So it's so important that we are making sure that we are at least having a majority of healthier foods in our diet, so that we can create the levels of health in the cheapest way possible. Because even though we've got the National Health Service over here, so if we go in for an operation and we're not paying through the nose for it, but our taxpayers' money is going to pay for all these operations that we're having, which is why there was a kickback years ago when people were like, wait a minute, why are we as taxpayers having to use our money to pay for medical services for people who are choosing to smoke? And then they're degenerating their health, and then our taxpayers' money is going to that. So taxpayers' money can't go to keeping schools open every day of the week or making sure our children have got enough books and learning resources, but we're paying for the impact of somebody's negative health choices. So, and we can all now, imagine we were all living communally as people of color, as Black people. We wouldn't want to put that burden on everybody else. But we also know, so I have a lot of clients who, for example, they do have partners who smoke. And when I started explaining to them, do you realize that some of the symptoms you're describing to me are from passive cigarette smoke? When your partner comes in and their clothes are covered in cigarette smoke, they're passing that on to you. When your partner or somebody in your house or in your family is not taking control of their health, they're not empowered to look after their health, they can put a drain on your time, on your resources, on the family's resources, on what you as a family are able to do because of their health conditions. And we are also in the mindset that there's nothing that we can do about these things. And I would say that the food that they're putting out there, all this food that's on the screen right now on the other head, the food is made to be extremely addictive. So it can feel so hopeless, like I just really want to start eating these foods, but I can't. And it's not a level playing field. It's not because anyone's lazy or anyone's a glutton or anyone's a sloth. It's none of that. The food is addictive. And once you pop, people in the chat, you can finish that off. Remember that famous marketing slogan, once you pop, the food is made. So we have to make an extra effort to empower ourselves to put at least majority of the food that we're eating is that healthy food, so that we can literally take our health back into our own hands and create a healthier lifestyle. Because the more of that food we're putting in us, the less of the other food we're going to want, and we're going to want to and desire as well. So we've spoken a bit about food. Now, how does our lifestyle impact our health? The three things, and there's loads of things in our lifestyle, but the three things I'm going to focus on is sitting, e-smog, and sweating. If anyone already knows what e-smog stands for, or what I'm talking about with e-smog, please put it in the chat, because I'd love to know if anyone already knows what that is. So sitting, e-smog, and sweating. So most people know sitting is the new smoking. Not only when we're sitting down, there's lack of circulation, poor circulation, we're burning 0 calories. Most of the time that we're sitting indoors. Most people don't go sit on the park bench outside getting sunlight and doing their work sitting there. Most people are sitting indoors, sitting in their cars, sitting at work, sitting in the cinema, sitting down somewhere. And it's the new smoking. It's got such a negative impact on our health. So not only just the kind of physiological things that it can do, but just even in terms of posture. In this picture, it shows it very clearly. The vast majority of the time when we are sitting down, unless you're lying back, people are normally sitting down hunched over. So we're creating negative impact on our posture, on our back, on our spinal column. Back complaints are one of the biggest things that people will complain of when it comes to workplace injuries and workplace ill health, is back complaints. And then we're also restricting our lung capacity, because when we're bent in over like that, we're leaning in. So we're not opened up for us to have good respiratory health. And all of those things have a negative impact. And I'm sure everyone has seen an elder walking and their body is completely hunched over, because you'll get to a certain age where it's going to be very difficult for you to straighten things back up. So, and we didn't have all the things that encouraged us to sit down as much in our ancient culture, because we were outside in the sunlight like 9 to 12 hours a day. We were so much more physical. We were taking in the sunlight. We were getting the frequencies from the sun, not just even the sunlight. We were moving around a lot more. We were standing a lot more, running, sprinting, sweating, all of these things that we were doing that we just do not do right now. So some of the things that happen when you sit down is that you're burning no calories. Your leg muscles become stagnant. That's why people develop things like clots and poor circulation in their legs, and what's it called, varicose veins, and all those kind of things. They're even comparing the fact that if you chew gum, you're burning more calories than you would be if you were just sitting down. And then after 2 hours of sitting down, 20%, there's a 20% drop in the good cholesterol that your body is producing. And there's a 24% higher risk of you getting diabetes. When we sit, and we do sit down a lot, so office workers can sometimes sit down for 12 hours a day, including their commutes. The average Joe is sitting down for about 9.3 hours. And even on the weekends, we've got so many things that are enticing us to sit down. We can sit down for 8 hours on the weekend. And again, we were up and about and moving for 9 to 12 hours a day previously. And in this society, this is what we're doing. 80% of jobs require you to, even security guards get to sit down. When I go into Sainsbury's, my security guard is not walking around all the time. Every time I go in there, he is sitting down looking at monitors. I'm like, how are you earning any money? And then if anyone does anything, they run out of the shop. He just meanders, saunters behind them. Like, they don't make security guards the way that you used to, not where I'm from anyway. So even the so-called active jobs, you get to sit down a lot, and there's been a big increase in the amount of sitting down that we're doing. And there's more sedentary jobs as well. And when you're sitting down a lot, it increases your risk of colon cancer. You got a higher risk of rectal cancer as well. Obese people will sit 2 to 2.5 hours more each day than people who are sometimes healthy. And that's a bit of a catch-22, because the more you sit down, the higher your chances of developing obesity. And then when you become obese, it's more difficult for you to move around. So then you're sitting down even more. 1 in 10 premature deaths were the result of inactivity. And that's, again, about the same amount of smoking. And when they talk about inactivity, they're talking about illnesses that have got links with inactivity. So again, and even for women, it's not going to, these slides don't speak about it specifically, but for sisters, when we're sitting down, there's a stagnation of blood around our pelvic area, which is where our womb is, which is why we are developing so many more womb health challenges. And when I'm working with sisters who have got womb health challenges, and we get them to start exercising more, especially things like African dance, African yoga, yoga in general, stretching, walking, body weight exercises like squats, all of those things that create movement in and around your pelvic area, hula hooping, all of those kind of things, it increases their womb health challenges, because fibroids, for example, has been, and even things like endometriosis and polycystic ovary syndromes, there has been a lot of research that has linked inactivity and sitting down for prolonged periods of time to the development, is a contributing factor to the development and the more severe, the severity of things like PCOS, endometriosis, and fibroids as well. So if you sit more than 4 hours, and the vast majority of us are sitting for more than 4 hours, and again, we're coming out of the back of COVID, so a lot of people aren't even having to commute anymore. And you know, a lot of people said, you know, if I didn't have to work, I'd exercise more, I would walk out in the open, I'd get more fresh air. No one did that, because we went through a very traumatic time with the COVID-19 lockdown. So a lot of people just ended up not doing that. And then the mental and emotional impact of being in this very insecure state that we were put in made us even more likely to want to sit down for more than 4 hours, even when we had things to do. A lot of us didn't have the motivation to do those kind of things. And again, in the oppressive environment that we live in, with the constant threat of white supremacy and the racist regime that we live in under, causing us some kind of a problem, if you're not in a mental position where you can overcome that, it can become a lot. And that's going to decrease your motivation to get up and do anything that you would want to do. Again, you've got a lot of people who have got jobs and they're like, yeah, you know, I'm going to build my business, wake up early, build my business in the morning, go to work, come back, you know, work on it in the evening. And a lot of us, we're losing the motivation to do that because of the oppression that we're under. Again, which is why it's brilliant that we've got platforms like Hidden Science Academy and Hidden Truth to provide this inspirational and motivational media for us, and showing us examples of the great work that they're doing, like Andrew Mohammed did at the beginning of this presentation, where he was showing all the work that he was doing with the young people to help inspire us to actually get up and make an impact on the world. But again, not all of us are in that position. And if we are sitting down for more than 4 hours a day, there's a 50% increased risk of death from any cause, literally any cause. There was a statistic that came out that said 90% in one state in America, 90% of heart attacks happened on a Monday morning in the commute on the way to work in rush hour traffic. And when they did some follow-up research, they found that people were not exercising enough. They felt their life was getting away from them. The stress of having to go to a job that they didn't like was the needle that, you know, the straw that broke the camel's back. So, and again, sitting down in commuter traffic, 125% increased risk of people with events associated with cardiovascular disease such as angina, pectoris, or heart attacks. Sitting can affect your muscles and your mood as well. And they say that sitting for more than 6 hours a day, so that's when you sit for more than 4 hours a day, sitting for more than 6 hours a day is as bad as smoking a pack of cigarettes a day. And family, I'm not encouraging you take up smoking and, you know, walk around more. We're saying these are the statistics. When people smoke a pack of cigarettes a day, and when people are sitting down for more than 6 hours a day, they have a similar risk of developing things like lung cancer. So the other thing that we're looking at is e-smog. I'm not sure if anyone got the e-smog thing right in the chat. Lick shot. I love all the lick shot pun Babylon. Okay, let's see if anyone got. Yeah, 90%. Yeah, it's deep. All right, so, okay, so, all right, darlings. Woo, sorry. So e-smog is, so when we talk about e-smog, we're talking about the type of pollution that we are now subjected to because of the amount of frequencies, radioactive frequencies that are in the air. And we are getting just completely surrounded by them, whether that's you've got a mobile, like a broadband router in your own home, the data on your phone, your tablet might be connected to some kind of data source, your laptops, your computers, you might be using Siri or Alexa or something like that. And then when we go outside, we've got the mobile phone masts, we've got the radio wave signals that are out there. We are constantly being bombarded with such higher levels of frequencies and electromagnetic frequencies, and that's what the E stands for. It's the electromagnetic frequency smog. I should have actually put a picture of this up, but there's a book, a brilliant book by a guy called Dr. McCullough, Dr. Joseph McCullough. Like when I was getting into health years ago, the site McCullough was like the site to go to find out about all the alternative health and things like that. And he's written several books, but one of his latest books is called EMF'd. And he speaks extensively about the implications of us absorbing so much electromagnetic frequencies. And don't get me wrong, we absorb, there's always been electromagnetic frequencies from the sun, from the water, from the trees, from, you know, small amounts even coming off us. There's frequencies that are in the air, they're natural frequencies. So we're now talking about the man-made frequencies, the frequencies that are moving at a far higher rate. So we know that we used to be on 3G and then it went to 4G and now we're on to 5G. And those numbers are talking about the speed that the frequencies are moving, therefore the capacity for them to be able to do the, you know, weird and wonderful things that they show on the adverts for 5G. And we're just being bombarded with them frequently. And there's again, studies that show that e-smog can contribute to things like poor sleep, poor concentration, focus being impaired, poor memory loss, all of those kind of things. There was even a report called the Trowler report, and a guy gave me a copy of it and I read through it, and they were literally saying that the radios that police wear, you know, police wear their radios up here, those radios give out high levels of frequencies. It's like having a mobile phone always on right there, right? So they were saying that the frequencies that are emitted from those police radios are in such close proximity with the police's brains, with the, you know, whoever's wearing them, their brains, that it can actually increase their levels of aggression. Increases their levels of aggression. It makes them more prone to mental instability, makes them more aggressive because they're constantly receiving these waves, which are having a negative impact on their ability to be calm and focused and all of those kind of things. And that's a whole new conversation. So I'm going to move on from that. But there are so many ways that you can protect yourself from e-smog, whether it's putting crystals in and around your environment, whether you can buy, like I think I should try, oh, there it is. So there's my, my EMF Protector. And I can't remember who does this one, hold on. Symbiosis, SYMBIOS -us. Symbiose us. So yeah, that's where I got my one from. But you can get mobile phone protectors and e-smog, electromagnetic absorbing protectors. Shungite is another one that's really good to protect us from that. And then you've got the new phenomenon of people are not only sitting too much and not only absorbing too much electromagnetic smog, but most of us are doing them at the same time. Most of us, this is the new common, this is the new norm for people to be sitting down. And I swore we would never do this in my house. I swore we would never all be sitting down and we would all be on our phones. And darn it, we are here. There are times when my husband and I are both somewhere sitting down in our house and we've both got devices. Normally one of us will catch each other and be like, okay, we need to put the devices down, or like there's enough time my husband has to just take the phone. He just takes the phone out of my hand because he can see I've been on it for too long. But yeah, this is a phenomenon. This is a lifestyle thing that we're doing now, which is negatively impacting our health. And it's not part of us. It's not what we used to do. What we used to do is we used to sweat and we used to move. Sweating and movement. These are two of the things that we don't do anymore. But again, we used to do it. We used to be under the rays of the sun. So our body, you know, our skin would be heating up. And in order to cool our skin down, our body would be releasing water. And with that water would be any toxins that we had absorbed, because your skin is one of your biggest organs of detoxification. So allowing us to to allowing your body to sweat is one of the ways that you can allow your body to detoxify itself and release a lot of those toxins that would otherwise stay in your body and cause havoc. Again, increase the acidity in your body, add more bulk for your bowels to have to get rid of, or just get reabsorbed back into your tissues and cause even more problems there. So when we are sweating and we are moving, it's cleansing. It helps our body to absorb the nutrients from our food. It helps to reduce the risk of high blood pressure, diabetes, and breast and ovarian cancer. And those are the conditions that affect Black women, in fact, more than most other people. And even though, so with breast and ovarian cancer, we are not more likely to get those cancers, but when we do get those cancers, it's more likely to be the triple negative breast cancer, which is one of the most aggressive breast cancers. It's more likely to be the hormone dominant ovarian cancer. It's more, and we know that that is due to the hair products that we've been subjected to for years. And us in the health community were like, you realize that all these chemicals that you're putting on your hair are really bad. And everyone's like, oh no, you guys are over exaggerating, go and eat some kale and drink some smoothies, leave us alone. And then 10 years later, the white man puts it on BBC and everyone's like, oh, hair products are really bad for Black women. And us natural health people are like, really? So now you're gonna listen. Now you're gonna listen when a white man puts it on BBC. All right, fine, carry on, innit? So we understand that a lot of the chemicals that we were taking in from those hair products, and again, I did it as well. I permed my hair once, and then I was like, this is so long. I had zero tolerance with my hair, and I couldn't go out in the rain because I had a perm. So I was like, all right, let me see if texturizing is any better. No, I just cut my hair off. At 16, I just cut my hair off. So this is just all long. That's what prevented me from having a perm constantly, because of my sheer bone idle laziness, because I just couldn't be bothered to put in the what's it called, the jam, putting jam in the hair and then tying it down and then taking the scarf off and making sure you sleep in the... Nah, fam. That's what protected me. But yeah, so we have all of those conditions. These are conditions that we are subjected to a lot more as Black women, but exercising, moving and sweating helps to reduce all of those things. And again, the movement, especially if it's things to do with our hips and our waist, that also increases the circulation of blood in and around our pelvic area. And that helps to reduce the instances of things like fibroids and a lot of the other womb health challenges that we experience. And some of the things that we can do to increase our movement and get us sweating is, even if you're not going to do a full-blown exercise, is to make sure you're stretching on a daily basis. Because I know if I haven't exercised for a while and I do a 10-minute stretch, it feels like I've just done a bit of a workout. I'm a little bit out of breath by the end of it. So just stretching on a daily basis and keeping your body supple and keeping that circulation going, boosting the lymphatic system, which is one of the systems that's joined with your bloodstream that picks up a lot of the toxins from your blood and then moves it away. All of those things can be stimulated through stretching. Standing with screens, again, going back to our overuse of screens and devices. So if you make a point of standing up anytime you're using a screen, and walking and talking. So if you're on the phone, instead of sitting down, get up and walk around the room, walk up and down the stairs. Even that motivational speaker, Tony Robbins, he spoke about that a lot, the fact that anytime he's doing coaching calls, he would be on a treadmill. He'd have a treadmill in his house and he would just walk, and he would walk just fast enough so he wasn't out of breath, so it wouldn't interfere with his speech, but it meant that he was moving on a regular basis while doing something that would otherwise have kept him sedentary. And the other thing you want to aim to do is obviously get out of breath and sweat 3 times a week, because you can't be sitting down 40 hours a week and then think that exercising for 45 minutes on a Sunday is going to make up for that. In the same way, you can't deprive yourself of sleep for, all week and then sleep 3 hours extra on the weekend and make up for that. Because it needs to be something that's done on a consistent basis, because it's literally the equivalent of not doing the dishes all week and then trying to do them all on Sunday, because by that time you got rats and flies and rodents and the house stinks and all that kind of stuff. It's just not going to work. So it has to be something you aim to add into your life on a consistent basis. So how our diet and lifestyle is keeping us enslaved. So it's basically through addictions. And we know that it's again, like I said at the beginning, the food that we're eating is so addictive that it makes it difficult for us to break away from it. And the main addictions that we have is to the 4 white poisons: white sugar, white salt, white flour, and white fat. So white sugar, again, there's natural sugars, and obviously sugar is going to be very addictive because it's sweet to the taste. It's comforting. Breast milk is sweet, and that's where a lot of people get that need for comfort. When they have a need for comfort, they go for sweet foods. Most of us were raised with having sweet foods being part of our celebration. When we did something good, we were given something sweet. When it was our birthday, had something sweet. Rum cake, my auntie's rum cake, my auntie's black Grenadian rum cake at Christmas. Oh my goodness. There's always that link between stuff that's sweet and stuff that's things that are good, and that stays with us. And those are like, that's why I made, as a self-confessed sugar addict, I'm like, I am not going to give my children sugar, because I know how hard it is for me to break this addiction, much less pass this on to my children. But there are many more natural things that you can do to replace the white sugar that are not as addictive. Salt, again, salt, we've had salt in far greater quantities than as humans have ever, in our human existence, we've never had access to this much salt before. And the research that they did said that basically we would have in a day the same amount of salt that would be found in 1 olive or something. And that's how much salt we would have every day. But now we're having maybe 2 or 3 olives worth of salt per meal. And that's having a negative impact on our heart health, again, on our digestive health, on our immune system, all those kind of things. So you can get pink salt, you can get the Himalayan crystal salt, Celtic salt, black salt, brown salts, the salts that have got more nutrients in them, and then reducing how much you're obviously putting on. White flour, we know that most flour has got gluten in it. Gluten is very binding. Again, it's not something that was, so when people talk about our daily bread, the wheat plant is not the same wheat plant we're eating today. That wheat plant has been modified and changed so much. It's so far gone from what we used to eat. And then we wouldn't be eating it 3 times a day. Some people can have toast for breakfast and then a sandwich for lunch, and then they're having biscuits in the middle of the day, then they're having pasta for dinner, then they're having cake for dessert. Some people are having flour 5 times a day. We would never have done that. So when people are like, oh no, bread is good for you, whole wheat bread and grains, nah, it's not, because if you look on the ingredients, it's not just flour and water and yeast and salt anymore. There are about 13 ingredients. Brown bread has got about 2 to 3 types of sugar. White bread has got, again, excess levels of salt. And then again, fat, you've got the healthy fat and the unhealthy fat. And apart from coconut oil, most of the fats that if you heat them up and then they cool down to go white, like rapeseed oil, sunflower oil, vegetable oil, canola oil, all of those oils are not good for us. They're creating, again, such negative health impacts on our body. And it's even far beyond weight gain. It's how our body is able to break them down. And when I'm looking at people's blood, I can see undigested fat and protein crystals floating around their blood. The other thing that we're addicted to is the 3 nasties: monosodium glutamate, or MSG, the artificial food additive, aspartame, which is the artificial sweetener. And aspartame is made of 3 different poisons in and of themselves. The 3 things that are classed as poisons combined together to make aspartame. And aspartame is 200 times sweeter than regular sugar. So they can put it in much smaller quantities into our food, make it super sweet, push out this sweet food to everyone, get everyone addicted on that sweet taste, and then all the negative impacts that come along with that. And then hydrogenated fats are fats that have been chemically altered so that they can sit on the shelf for much longer. And that chemical altering makes them products that our body can't even recognize breaking down. Therefore, our body doesn't break them down, and they, again, stay in our blood, undigested, causing problems, clogging up our arteries, creating cardiovascular events, all for the sake of money. The other things that we have addictions to is alcohol, obviously how addictive alcohol is, sex, cigarettes, drugs, and sex. And when I'm talking about sex, I'm not talking about, we have a very unnatural relationship. We're not using intimacy the way that we used to as Black people. We're taking on the practices and the cultures of other people. And it's all become very lustful. We're not, as women, especially, because we did a whole hidden science of sexual health with the Hidden Science Academy. And we spoke about the fact that women have to spiritually protect themselves. And when we are being intimate with every Tom, Dick, and Harry, we're taking in all of those energies, not only the physical impacts of the STDs and the STIs that we're taking in, and some of those STDs and STIs, brothers and sisters are subjecting themselves to. You may not even get a symptom for it for 3 months after you've had the intimacy, but the energies that you're taking in, and that's why a lot of sisters that sell products that do like vaginal steaming and yoni eggs and yoni pearls and things like that, a lot of them are speaking about how it's necessary to detox our bodies from the partners that we've been having, because they are having a negative impact on us, not just physically, but emotionally and spiritually as well. So, and those things are addictive because they've put lust and porn and things that are tantamount to porn everywhere now. So it's not the sacred act that it used to be. It's just something that's fly by night and lost all its value. And it's having a negative effect on us as people, because women are over-sexualized, dark-skinned Black men are over-sexualized, all of our music is over-sexualized, a lot of clothing, even clothing for girls, is all over-sexualized. It's just been degraded. The sacred act has been degraded, and it's having a negative impact on us, and it's keeping us enslaved, because that's one of the things that the slave master did to destroy us as Black people, was to use sex, rape, and buck breaking, and all of these horrible things that were done. And the amazing book by Frances Cress Welsing, The ISIS Papers, she speaks about so many of those things that have been done to us as Black people in the name of sex, taking on a culture that's 100% not ours. And all of these things that we're addicted to are keeping us enslaved to those that supply us with these things. And that's where the challenge is. We can't free ourselves in our mind, body, and soul if we are enslaved and we are dependent on the people supplying us these things. You might like plantain, but you ain't addicted to it. So there's no West Indian food shop that's going to become millionaires because of our addiction to plantain. But Pizza Hut, McDonald's, okay, I'm not going to say names, but those companies providing those things, the alcohol, the drugs, all of those things, we are making them rich while we are getting poor, which is why Andrew Mohammed was just talking to us about the economic challenge that we're in, where we need to support the Black pound and we need to support ourselves economically. And money leaves our community going to all of these suppliers of all of these foods that are keeping us enslaved. And they're keeping us enslaved because when these foods, not only are we giving all our money to them so we can keep getting access and consuming them, but all of these things are creating all the health problems that we're experiencing. Then we become dependent on going to them to fix those problems by taking their pharmaceutical drugs and by going to the doctors. And most of my clients come to me because they went to the doctors and the doctor said there's nothing wrong with them. That's why most of my clients come to me, is because they're taking medications that they know that don't work, or they're taking medication and then it gives them the side effects. So they're given another medication to deal with the side effect. And now you've got the combined negative impact of those two drugs giving more side effects. And that's why we're enslaved. And again, you've got the once you pop, you can't stop. Greetings.
Leah, what the hell, sister? If this is how you teach when you've had a hard day, no, don't laugh, sister, because I'm gonna pray for you to have hard days for the rest of your life there, because this has been disgusting. Meaning it's been absolute. Brothers and sisters, no, Leah, I've got to say this, brother, because you're shooting bullets 1 billion miles per second. Brothers and sisters already put in ones, they know what I'm going to say. If you're feeling this, when the sister speaks, are you looking at yourself? Because that's the greatest teacher. When you're not looking at other people, but you're looking at the sister. I'm telling you now, since this pandemic, I used to be someone who used to be on the move 24/7 a day. Physically, I'm talking about. One school to the next school, to the next one, to the next. And now I do a lot of my work online. So I'm now a victim of sitting down, and I've got pains, but I never, ever used to have pains before, ever. Yeah. You know what I'm trying to say, sister? So the teachings that you're giving, sister, I mean, wow. Brothers and sisters, put some fire in the chat room. Carry on, my sister, carry on.
Thank you. I'll only be another 10 minutes, brother.
Okay, we're gonna have to invite you back though, sister, because I know there's so much more in terms of your homeschooling and all kind of things, but all right then, beloved, yes.
Thank you.
Go, but don't rush it, sister, because we bring you back straight back. I mean,
okay.
Straight back. In fact, hold the line, this sister. Brothers and sisters, I don't want the sister to rush it. Brothers and sisters, would you like, if she's available, would you like Sister Leah to come back for a part 2? Because talk to me. Don't be kind. Analyze what the sister said. Do you want her back on this platform for a part 2? Because I don't want her to rush it. Oh my God, sister, please look at that chat group going. Not me.
Thank you.
Not me, and it's still going. Someone says 1,000%. Someone says part 3 and part 4, Andrew. Lord gosh. So don't rush it, sister. Please don't rush it.
Okay.
Yeah. 5 to 10 minutes, but we're gonna knowing that you're gonna be coming straight back on again. Yep. Sister. All right then. Go, my queen. Thank you.
Okay, so that was the once you pop, you can't stop thing. Thank you, everyone in the chat. I appreciate you guys. So this is the ingredients. Sorry, sis? Sorry, bruv?
No, I'm saying it's still going. It's still but carry on, sister, carry on.
So when you're thinking about potato chips, when our great inventor, George Washington Carver, invented the potato chip, he wasn't planning on Pringles taking what he made and making a savory snack it's got like 3 types of sugar in there. It's got the monosodium glutamate, and that is what we call an excitotoxin. If you do some research into excitotoxins, so when we take in, foods and they taste good, neurons in our brain fire. Oh, that tasted good. Oh, that was nice. Oh, that smells good. Oh, I like the way that makes my mouth feel. But when you eat something that's an excitotoxin, it's exciting those neurons so that they're firing so quickly that they burn out and die. That's why they're called excitotoxins. So when our young people, when any of us are eating foods that contain these excitotoxins, and again, the colors, look at the colors. We've got the red and the yellow. It's been shown that those 2 colors together stimulate hunger, which is why there was very, popular fast food restaurants a lot of fast food restaurants who also use this in their branding because they know it stimulates hunger. And it wasn't all of the flavors of Pringles that had the monosodium glutamate in it, but there was about 2 or 3. And that's why once you pop, you can't stop, because it's addictive. And they know that monosodium glutamate, just like aspartame, is a lot more salty. You can put a lot less in, and it opens up your taste buds, so more of the flavor can go into your taste buds, which again is another negative sip. Like, food wasn't meant to do that. Food wasn't meant to have an effect on our brain. And that's why a lot of our young people that are eating it can't concentrate, and they've got hyperactivity and they've got ADHD, and it's because of the food. Again, one of my favorite books on children's health is called, oh, hold on one moment, darlings. I think this might be the old cover, but this is one of my favorite books on children's health, Crazy Makers, by Carol Simon Tachi. And she speaks significantly about that in there. She even speaks about the fact that people who are offenders at the age of 30 were 80 times more likely to have had a poor diet between the age of 5 and 15. So they spoke to offenders and said, what was your diet like? Those whose mothers weren't or parents weren't able to cook for them, who had a lot of fast food, who ate a lot of chocolate and candy and sweets and fizzy drinks, they made up the vast majority of the offenders who committed violent crimes at 30 years old. Crazy Makers, brilliant book. If you've got children, I highly recommend it. Okay, so how can we emancipate ourselves and free ourselves from this bondage holistically? So one of the things you can do is eat for health, think for happiness, and live in harmony. And that's one of the things that I encourage people to do. Aim to avoid the 4 white poisons and the 3 nasties. Drink more water, get exercise, and rest. Know thyself and trust the wisdom of your ancestors. So what did our ancestors do? and before we go to what our ancestors do, in fact, so again, one of my aims is to help my people, especially Black women, to eat for health, think for happiness, and live in harmony, or what I call becoming naturally you. So just quickly, what do you think I mean when I say what is eating for health? So do you think, if you put in the chat, do you think that eating for health means that you eat small portions of raw vegan, fat-free, salt-free food? If you think that's what I mean when I say eating for health, put A in the chat. If you think I mean eat delicious, nutrient-rich food until you're full, put B's in the chat. So let's see what's happening in the chat. A's or B's, A's or B's. Oh, it's a bit even. Oh yeah, a bit more B's. I think B's are winning. Right, so B is the answer, because if you're eating food that tastes delicious to you, your body's gonna, because you eat with your eyes and your nose first. So if you're eating with your eyes and your nose and the food looks good and smells good, and you've tasted it before and you know it tastes good, your body's gonna produce more digestive enzymes to help break that food down so you can get the nutrients out of it. If it's nutrient-rich food, you're gonna benefit from the nutrients in it. And making sure you eat until you're full reduces the chance of you overeating or from you having a healthy meal, because that's what a lot of my clients say. They'll eat healthy food. It's the snacks that's the problem, sis. Leah, it's the snacks. It's what I have in the evening. And that's because people aren't eating until they're full. If you eat till you're full 3 times a day, it's more likely that those are the only 3 times you'll eat. Don't try and eat some small little meal and then be like, oh no, I don't want to eat too much, I'm calorie counting. And then you'll end up binging on food that really is not good for you because you're not satiated from your food. Raw vegan food is good. I don't think we need fat-free food because we're Black. We've always had palm oil and coconut oil. And we know that those foods are 2 of the healthiest foods around in moderation. And it's the bad salt and the overconsumption of salt that's the problem. We don't need salt-free food. We need to have moderation in the amount of salt that we're eating and not having salt in every single meal. So when I say eating for health, I'm talking about eating delicious, nutrient-rich food until you're full. Because again, there's a misconception that for food to be delicious, it has to be unhealthy. And that's something we've been taught that we need to unlearn. That's why I'll get my clients to write down a list of all the foods they think are delicious that are healthy. And that's when people can start making that switch. When they think of delicious food, they're thinking of the healthy ones, the mango, the pineapple, the papaya. For me, roasted salmon with sweet potato and tender stem broccoli. Get out of here. Absolutely delicious. So when I'm talking about thinking for happiness, do you think I mean being realistic with your goals so you don't get disappointed, or focusing on what brings you joy? So if I can get some A's and B's, what do you reckon I mean? So A's or B's, do you think I mean being realistic with your goals so you don't get disappointed, or focusing on what brings you joy? What do you think I mean when I say thinking for happiness? Okay, so 100%, I mean B, is focusing on what brings you joy, because bonfire upon being realistic, innit? Because that, I feel, can be such a hindrance to us going for what we wanted. Because if our ancestors were realistic, we probably wouldn't have the pyramids. We wouldn't have like plane travel. That wouldn't have happened. If someone said to the 2 brothers who wanted to build a plane and, you know, put some wood and nails together and sit in it and throw themselves off over the sky, over water, that's not realistic. That wouldn't have been realistic. For me, do you think it's realistic for a brother who works as hard as Andrew Mohammed to expect to get 300 people on a Zoom call every Tuesday? That's not realistic, but the brother's doing it. And the brothers created the airplane. And it wasn't realistic for a Black woman to become a millionaire back in the 1920s, was it? Or the late 1800s, but Madam CJ Walker did it. Some people don't think it's realistic for a woman with 6 children to have written 6 books and home educate. But hey, check me out. So when I say thinking for happiness, I'm talking about focusing on what brings you joy and not allowing any negative thoughts or the thought of maybe this is not going to work. Maybe I can't do this. You don't need to do any of that. You can just focus on and think, because in the same way you can think negatively, it takes just as much energy to think positively. So focus on what brings you joy, because where your focus goes, energy flows. If you focus on the fact that you're always late, you're always going to be late. If you focus on, I'm going to start getting places on time, if not 5 minutes early, your energy will go towards making that happen.
Teach.
So when I say living in harmony, again, A's or B's, do you think I mean that you should balance your work, exercise, life goals, meditation, time with your family and self-care? Or do you think when I say living in harmony, I'm talking about sprinkling in the goodness? Just sprinkling it in. Okay, I'm going to tell you, I do not mean A. I 100% don't mean A, because you can't balance how much time you spend at work with balance means this. Balance means you're spending the same amount of time, and that's not possible. And there's a saying that I heard ages ago that made so much sense, because I tried to balance it. I used to do multi-level marketing companies, and when I used to go to their promotional talks, they would tell me, if you're at work 8 hours a day, you need to go home and work on your business 8 hours a day. That's fat. Maybe having my own business ain't for me then, because that's not going to happen. Then I heard a saying that balance is a myth and harmony is a must. So harmony means you might work 8 hours a day, but you make sure you put a good 45 minutes of exercise in, and you make sure you're doing 10 minutes of meditation a day. Because if you're working 8 hours a day, you're not going to come home and meditate for 8 hours a day. That would actually be the definition of real balance. But harmony means you sprinkle in the things that are good for you. So you make sure you have some time dedicated for self-care, some time dedicated for family, some time dedicated for your life, working on your life goals and exercise. But you're not trying to balance them, because that's where sisters end up with burnout. And I work with a lot of mothers who speak, I can't balance it, Leah, I can't give my children the same amount of time as this, that, and it's an unrealistic expectation. Sprinkle in the goodness. And as long as you do 10 minutes of meditation, you're set for the next 23 hours, sis, trust me. 10 minutes of meditation, 15 minutes of exercise. Go on to the Men's Health YouTube channel, because men just want to go hard for no reason. Men just want to do the most when it comes to exercise, yeah? So just go onto the Men's Health YouTube channel and do any of their 10-minute home workout from hell, and you will feel on point for the whole day. So you sprinkle in the goodness. So the other thing that we want to do is to free our minds by creating that positive mental attitude. So you want to create a growth mindset. And this is something that's brilliant to work on with children as well. So you change the words that you're saying to yourself. And this links into thinking for happiness. So when you change your words, you change your mindset. And you're not always going to be positive and happy, but the more that you can focus on this, the easier it's going to become to make this a lifestyle. So instead of saying that I'm never going to be smart as that person, everyone is talented in their own ways. So again, these are just some examples of it. Instead of saying I give up, I can try a different way to do things. So take a screenshot of this picture, this image if you can, or go and do some research into growth mindsets, because making those simple changes. So I stopped saying things are hard, because if I say something's hard, I'm just not going to do it. I'm going to have no motivation to do it. So I speak about challenges. I say things are challenging, because a challenge, you can navigate your way through a challenge. Challenges can be fun, in fact. They are hard, but they're more fun than they are hard. And you can get to the other side of a challenge. When you say something's hard, it can make your mind stop. And that's a fixed mindset. And we are the originators of growth, because everyone came from Black women. We grew everything on the planet, right? So even if you look at the placenta, when a woman's given birth and you look at a placenta, it looks like the tree of life. We are growth. Black men came from us. We are growth. We are growth. So we need to adopt our original mindset. And that's how we can emancipate ourselves. Doing what our ancestors did. Some of the things our ancestors did was to eat seasonal, organic, local food, rarely eating processed sugars, plenty of time outside, 9 to 12 hours. Though we can't do all of this now, just do as much as you can. So, because most of us aren't spending more than an hour in sunlight because we're Black and we don't want to be cold, put a coat on and go and stand outside. Because there's this guy called Wim Hof. I'm sure some of you have heard of a guy called Wim Hof, and cold showers and cold exposure. One of the best things you can do to overcome your fear of something is to confront your fear of something. And when you do have cold showers, when you do participate in cold exposure, it makes you stronger. It helps your immune system. It helps your circulation. It reduces your stress and anxiety. Wim Hof. Go and check the brother out on YouTube, the guy out on YouTube or on Instagram, and just practicing these things. Because if we're going to let us not liking being cold in this country stop us from absorbing the rays of the sun, it's not a good bargain, family. So daily physical exercise, what our ancestors did is that most of their food was raw or lightly cooked, but us having more raw food or more lightly cooked in our diet is good. I definitely recommend periods of fasting and abstaining from food. So even if that's intermittent fasting, where you only eat between 12 o'clock and 8 o'clock, and then the other 16 hours, you're allowing your body to process the food and cellular regeneration and repair and detoxification, that's a good way to start. Our ancestors had daily family or community time. And again, a lot of us are disconnected, but even platforms like this, even when we're all putting ones in the chat, that's an opportunity for us to all connect in the situation that we're in now, and having spiritual and religious practices. Those are the things that our ancestors did. How we can emancipate our bodies is, again, to exercise on a regular basis. Yoga is a very natural part of our life and existence, and it can be a form of stretching or a full-blown exercise. One of the things we can do to emancipate our mind is having spiritual self-care practices like creative spiritual practices like journaling and art and design, still spiritual practices where we're doing centered meditation, quiet time, all those kind of things, and then activist spiritual practices, whether it's the work that you're doing, volunteering, those kind of things, and then movement spiritual practices. So things like yoga, walking meditation, dance, because when it comes to exercise, you've got working out. When you're working out, that's when you're releasing energy, you're burning calories, you're sweating, you're doing all these kind of things. Then you've got working in, and yoga, Pilates, some forms of dance. Those are exercises where you're actually pulling energy in, and they're energizing and they're fulfilling and nourishing. So it's good to get a balance of working out and working in. And some people will do like a yoga stretch and then do a good workout and then do some working in, some more yoga to finish it out. And that's how you can balance out your exercise time. Now, I know I'm not attacking anyone's religion in any way, shape, or form, but I have to say that as Black people, if we are going to emancipate our minds, this is something that is going to put a big full stop on that process, is the image of a white God that we've been given. And that's why in Sizzler's song about white God, I play that so my children can hear it on a regular basis. I'm not saying you shouldn't be religious. I'm not saying you shouldn't have your faith. I'm not saying any of that. But what I'm saying is, if we are going to emancipate our minds, we can't have the image of our creator being the same image as our the person that put us in slavery. We can't do it. The person that enslaved us and the person that's our creator, it can't happen. What we need to remember to focus on is that these are the images of our ancestors. These are the images, the people that look like us, and that representation, that visual representation is something that's very important. And that's going to be one of the things that's so important at liberating our mind and our body. So you can find me and the work that I do at thenaturallyyoucoach.com. You can find the products that I make, including the lime and ginger sea moss gel that I've just brought out at thenaturallyyouKitchen.com. You can also find out about the live blood analysis that I do from my clinic in Birmingham at thenaturallyyouclinic.com. Thank you very much again for inviting me. I hope you all enjoyed the talk. And if there are any questions, we can do questions now, if there's time.
Brothers and sisters, what can I say? What can we say? Sister, no joke, no joke. I had sisters telling me yesterday they are literally excited about this presentation that you're going to be doing tonight. None of us knew exactly what direction you was going to take it. Sister, absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
I mean, off the hook. We're going to have to, sister. I mean, and I'm going to 100% back you with that white Jesus. That is 100%. It's not about being religious or going against anyone's religion, but I'm telling you now, brothers and sisters, that white Jesus is worse than crack cocaine.
Yep, 100%.
In terms of our enslavement. Sister, we thank you. I mean, I don't know, not my words, sister. Just keep looking at the chat. I'm not even said nothing in the chat.
Thank you.
The chat is going crazy.
Thank
sister.
you, family.
Sister, we're gonna have to when this show finishes, sister, we're gonna have to book you in part 2, sister. Quick time.
Yes, please.
Yeah, 100%. And when the sister talks about analyzing the situation. Don't get it twisted. I mean, she is literally analyzing the blood.
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say? This ain't no just rhetorical talk. She takes it apart and gives you, and this is what we've been missing for the 50 years in the UK. Our own experts that we can trust.
Yeah.
That we can trust, that loves us, that comes from us, analyzing us and giving us the reality behind them. I mean, everything you said, sister, was right on point.
Thank you.
Right on point. Sister, I know Jarita's itching with questions there. I know. I saw so many going through on the chat line, okay, beloved, once as you were talking, okay, about bowel movements and all kind of stuff, okay. Sadly, we haven't got the time for questions tonight, sister. Yeah. Hence why I said part 2, and I think part 2, sister, we can have a presentation and a discussion too.
Yeah, maybe just a Q&A.
No, but we want to hear from you directly. I want you to be able, like what you've done tonight. I think tonight was just absolutely amazing. We still got literally 370 at one stage. We had over 380 people, and you've kept us captivated. It's just been absolutely amazing. And as I said before, the sister is on it. So, sister, you've agreed online in front of nearly 400 people that you're coming back to us, because my life ain't going to be worth living, sister. My life is not going to be worth living. So, Sister Leah, we thank you again. This is the Hidden Truth platform. Don't forget, brothers and sisters, it's the same Sister Leah that's going to be with us at the Wellness Weekend. Can you imagine? You can physically be there with the sister. Hey. It ain't going to be online. Brother Andrew Muhammad is physically going to be there. Brother Leon Marshall is physically going to be there. And the keynote speaker tonight is physically going to be there. So you can talk to her, hold her hand, have that discussion, you know, and it's going to be a small group of us. It's not going to be a massive hundreds of us, okay, brothers. We're looking for a small group. It's a pilot what we're doing. Please forgive me for early on, Jarita, because I had the wrong price down. It is $249 for single and $399 for double. Jarita, can you just keep putting the link down? People have been texting me personally saying, Andrew, how can I book? Get online now, brothers. There's literally 40 spaces, I think, from last week, about 10 already gone. And we haven't even advertised it yet. You know, so I'm not even gone out and advertised it yet.
Brother Andrew?
Yep.
Can I just say, all of the design work that the Hidden Science Academy does, including this flyer, was designed by my husband, Jeremy Salmon.
No, say it louder for the people at the back. Say it louder for the people at the back, sister.
So all the design work that Leon Marshall does for the Hidden Science Academy, including this flyer, was all done by my husband, Jeremy Salmon from We Design Media. So if anyone needs any design work done by a Black business who's amazing, then find Jeremy Salmon at We Design Media.
Fine. See, now you know that's love. When your wife is literally plugging husband. In fact, I've seen her literally follow her husband around the gym, like stalking him around the gym, beloved. Yeah, don't worry, Leah. I'm seeing everything, sister. I'll keep myself quiet, but they call me the investigator, sister. My girl loves him so much. She stalks him in the gym, beloved. I said, my God. That is what you call black love, man. That's what you call black love. So as I said, brothers and sisters, Jarita is putting there is a I know we gave you the wrong prices last week. Please forgive me. We are not making a profit on this, brothers and sisters. So if this is going to be our first weekender, if you want to make history with us, you want to be with Leah physically.
Yes, please.
Many of you, for hundreds of you, have been on the platform. You've never met me physically. I'm going to be there physically. Hundreds of you have been tuning into Brother Leon Marshall. He's going to be there physically. And we got some other guest speakers. We're going to have a whole day of seminars. Plus, we're going to give you free time. Swimming, sauna, jacuzzi, just walking around, having that free mind time. So, brothers and sisters, can you again, please don't ever get tired. Can you again make some boo-yaka noise for Sister Leah Salmon. Leah, it was amazing. I can't tell you, Leah. Yes, people are just asking me on my own phone now, Andrew, when is this show going to be replayed? From tomorrow, inshallah. Inshallah, from tomorrow, this show will be online. Oh, look at the ones. Look at the ones. Look at the. Jurita, Sister Leah, we're not massaging your ego. You were brilliant tonight.
Thank you very much.
8-star presentation.
Thank you.
Okay, let's give a shout out for Sister Jen Dyer. We had Bristol in the house tonight. I'm showing you that it's bigger than London. So we had Bristol in there tonight. We had the Marcus Garvey and the repatriation movement of Bristol on this platform tonight. Let's give it to her. We had our Queen, Sister Rachel Clark, granddaughter of the sister who made history in the UK, the first Black woman in Wales to have her own dedicated statue. We had a granddaughter on her today, a leader and a wrecker in terms of re-establishing and rebuilding an African-based syllabus and reteaching the minds of our teachers too. Leah, when you come on next time, we're going to talk about homeschooling and controlling our own children's education and what can happen. And I know the great works that you're doing the homeschooling front. Brothers and sisters, let's thank our brother Tahakwa with his fantastic company, Jamaica on Ice, giving us food. And remember, he said he's now moving into the vegan market too. So hopefully, Sister Leah will be pleased with that side of things as well, okay? And, you know, works have been going on. And this is just one show tonight. Can you imagine this? This is one show. Look at the caliber. I'm telling you, brothers, this every single Tuesday, Leah, I'm telling you, man, every single Tuesday, this is a platform for positive. We don't deal with no negativity on this platform.
That's right.
And when we deal with the negative, we still deal with it on a positive level.
That's right.
It's going to be a platform of positive love. Yeah, even with the hard times. Yeah, so, brothers and sisters, next week, I told you, with Leah Salmon on this program, I couldn't sleep because I had to find someone else. Who the hell is going to be brave enough to come on after Leah Salmon? Who the hell can do that? And I'm telling you, brothers, I had to go into the oceans. I had to go into the deserts. People are running from Leah. But I found one man. His name is Charles Gordon, the founder of the new political party in the UK.
Wow. And
he's been on the show before, and he's going to be with us next week. And the theme is, after Leah's given the freedom of the mind, body, and soul, it's now the movement of Jah people. How do we now put that information that Leah's given us and organize it on a mass scale? How do we get our political power